Oh, this is actually really comfortable. Flogging! Oh, oh. Oh, I've been watching way too much PewDiePie in the last few days, but that guy is just an amazing content creator, to be honest. Hats off to him, PewDiePie. But the biggest thing that I saw from him is that when I saw him sitting down on the floor and saying all these things that he's a floor gang, floor gang. Are you floor gang? Malaysia floor gang? Well, it's actually because it's in our culture, isn't it? We always sit down on the floor as a group, as a family, and then we eat together on the floor, eating with our hands and things like that. So I felt a sense of solidarity when I saw a bunch of PewDiePie videos lately that he's just sitting on the floor. So there you go, floor gang. Oh, I'm about to go to work now, but actually, why not just think about something first before I want to do a quick recording about this guy named what's this guy's name? Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. If you have not realized, has actually tabled a letter to the Speaker of the Parliament asking for a vote of no confidence. Right? This is the type of things that he is doing actually. This usul di bawah peraturan mesyuarat 26.1 and 27.3. And this has been put forth to the Speaker, Datuk Sri Panglima, to say that there's no confidence against Muhyiddin and his band of pirates, those backdoor triple X loving gay party, whatever it is. I have no idea. The traitors of Malaysia and things like that, and how they're all kleptocrats and corrupt. You haven't heard the word kleptocrats for 22 months for a long time, except for when you're talking about Najib. And then suddenly the moment Pakatan Harapan leaves or breaks down or is no longer in power, then suddenly this word comes back again, like as if, oh my God. That's all that they do, isn't it? They're really good at throwing hurl of insults at people without actually solving any problems. So we're gonna talk about how this letter of no confidence is actually true, and to be honest, it's actually been rejected, which is the funny thing. And I'm gonna talk about Dr. Mahathir Mohamad and how I compare him with, I don't know, people like Michael Jordan. I mean, if you think about Michael Jordan, let's look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan had his early NBA careers from 1984 all the way to, I don't know, 1993. That's the first time that he got his winnings, his championships and all that. And after he won the first time around, three-peat, he retired in 93 to play baseball. That didn't really work out too well for him, actually. And then suddenly say, oh, I'm back in 1995. And then go on to the next second retirement in 2001, and then he goes back to Washington Wizards. Now, same case as Mahathir. Mahathir actually was in power between, I don't know, 1981 all the way to 2003, right? 1981 to 2003, so 22 years of power, and he has accumulated so many things and done so many great things, but also accumulated so many bad things just to keep himself in power. Just imagine what you have to do to keep your job that's actually supposed to just go for 1 or 2 terms longer than that, all the way to 22. I mean, you'd be like Putin, right? Putin is also one of them, only Putin is... He's a pretty badass, and that's what Malaysia's 4th Prime Minister actually is. He's also a badass. So, but here's the point. You know, Michael Jordan did all these great things. He won these championships. He did that amazing air dunk from the free throw line that everyone tries to copy. And Mahathir did almost the same thing. He created North-South Highway. He created Proton as a national car looking east towards Japan, so that creating jobs for Malaysians in some sense. So there's a lot of great things that he did, and then he quit in 2003. But instead, just like how Michael Jordan came back to Washington Wizards, he came back to politics in 2018, and he did sort of okay for the first 22 months. Sort of okay. I don't know. Just like how Michael Jordan also sort of did okay in Washington Wizards, he also sort of did okay as a second period candidacy. But the difference is that when Michael Jordan finished his career back in 2003, that's when he realized, you know what, I don't think I'm cut out for this anymore. He should have actually stopped even before, but he went on further for that last bits of, you know what, I don't know anything else. I cannot play baseball. I can only play basketball. And that's why he left after 2 years. And so did Mahathir, right? Mahathir also left after about 2 years, he 22 months, he left, but not because he wanted to leave. Yeah, see, that's the difference. Because he was forced under, the people of Pakatan Harapan. Pakatan Harapan were like headless chickens, right? The people of Pakatan Harapan knew they couldn't win without Mahathir, the Grand Commander. Was it the Grand Commander? So if you don't know Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has so many different goddamn titles. He has the greatest titles of all time. Like, I don't know why you want to be a CEO of Tesla or Jeff Bezos of Amazon or something. If you can have the title of Grand Commander of the Order of the Defender of the Realm. Oh my goodness, that's like the best title you can get ever. It's so much better than Tun, which is evidently also one of the highest Malay titles that you can get in Malaysia. And he has so many PhDs. Oh my goodness, look at how many PhDs he actually has. He's like more like 10 PhDs from Malaysia alone, like 6 out of Japan, honorary PhDs, although granted, with his age, like one can wonder that he's been doing all his PhDs all his life. But he's this amazing character who, unfortunately, right now, tabling this vote of no confidence against Tan Sri Muhyiddin. Now, I don't understand what's actually happening, because he's like 95, like close to a century, and yet he does not know when to quit. Now, that begs the question, like, why would someone do that? Like, even when Michael Jordan realized that he cannot, he's too old for basketball. Why is it not okay for politicians to also feel that way? If you follow from an Islamic perspective allows, human beings to uphold 5 different pillars. Not the 5 pillars of Islam, but the 5 pillars that is advocating for. You have life, you have legacy, you have religion, you have the wealth, and you have honor. These 5 things are upheld in the Islamic principles. So the first thing that we're going to look at is life. Now, he's almost a century years old. If I were to be almost a century years old, I don't know if there's anything new that I want to see. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of new things. Like, sort of, some of them are good, some of them are like, Like, who knew that you come to a day where, people are fighting for the rights of becoming a porn artist? Like this OnlyFans.com thing. Like things are going crazy in this world lately. But okay, so he's almost ending his life almost 100 years in. It doesn't seem like he wants to end it just yet. He doesn't want to move on from whatever it is, because you might want to argue that 90 years old is, it's great, amazing for him, but soon enough, you can't expect someone that old to be leading. We actually let him lead the country, and then immediately you see that Pakatan Harapan is also a little bit frustrated with the idea that Mahathir Mohamad was over-controlling things again. He didn't want to give up his position. So giving up his life, or letting go, would ease the transition of him going to the afterlife. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, because I do believe, we as Muslims, we do believe in afterlives, and why not? If consciousness is real to you, as much as dreams are real to you, then you would know that when you go into a permanent sleep, your mind doesn't just switch off. It will go somewhere else. But the good thing about it is that dream becomes the new reality, and then you can travel anywhere you want. You can go space traveling. Oh, imagine Mahathir, and then he can probably start trying to, I don't know, become a Machiavellian of the universe, trying to control some other parts of the universe or something. I don't know. Like, who knows? But that's the idea, right? Your soul will wander off somewhere else, and he's stopping that. That's basically his life. He's not letting, by always permanently becoming a politician or trying to strive for more work, you're overworking your brain to trick that it's not time to end yet. And I think that's not that doesn't have good consequence for him in the long run. Just my opinion. Legacy. Haha. Now this is the part where it becomes a little bit interesting, right? So when you look at legacy, what legacy does he have? So he has 7 children. Marina Mahathir, Mohzani Mahathir, who is a businessman and listed as the 14th richest person in Malaysia. Now you might wonder, like, let's face it, over the 22 years when you're actually doing all these North-South Highway, you have a lot of approvals of a lot of contracts. And what Mahathir did was basically he has a little bit of a piece of every single contract that he has, and accumulated so much wealth and passed it down to his legacy. And one might wonder, like, how did Mohsani Mahathir suddenly become the 14th richest person? Is that a coincidence? No, it's a couple between Malays who are enthusiastic, who is business driven, who has a mindset of doing more, as compared to my baby's calling. I'll talk to her in a bit, so don't worry about that. We have a cool relationship like that when I can do whatever I want, and then I'll call later just to make amends. Anyway, so Mohyiddin Mahathir, 14th recent person, and worked as a petroleum engineer, worked with Petronas and things like that, and all these contracts, building KLCC using petrol, which is also built on Petronas money. All these things has amalgamated to this idea that the wealth has been passed down a little bit to his children. That's fine. Whatever, right? One might say that it's a little bit of corruption, but you know what? If I have children, I might want to have, I might want to pass down something to them too. Although it might be better that they're better off on their own without the help of their old father, helping the guidelines. Now, Mohyiddin seems to be doing well in the business side of things, but Mukhris, for example, is aspiring to be the next politician. And the idea, but I don't really see the point of him becoming a politician. Just as I don't hear too many things from Mukhris Mahathir. Like, you hear a lot more from people like Lim Kit Siang, you hear a lot more from people like, I don't know, Syed Saddiq even. All the publicity that you get as a politician, that's part of becoming a politician, that you have to know how to market yourself, and most importantly, to bring out policies which make sense for Malaysia. But that's a topic for another matter. I don't know what his policies are. Policy. It's not even given any. There's not even an idea here. Some honors that he got, but I don't know what his personal and career life is. It seems like he's just floating about, like, awaiting and hoping that his big grandpapa, the Grand Commander in the Order of the Realm, Defender of the Order of the Defender of the Realm, will try to give something to him. And that's what basically people are talking about. People are advocating the idea that the only reason why Mahathir Mohamad is trying to become the next Prime Minister again, or whatever it is so that he can pass down this line of power to Mukhris Mahathir. And Malaysia, politics is really power, let's face it. And during the 22 years of his power of approving a lot of contracts in Malaysia, that's when he accumulated all of his wealth. And with Mukhris at the helm again, guess who's going to be rich again? His family lineage will be rich. So the legacy, that's the part of the legacy. Check. That's why he wants to do this political stuff. Then you have religion. Well, I don't know too much about this, but I'm assuming that they're all still Muslims, I guess. There's also wealth. So wealth and legacy goes, I think, a little bit hand in hand here. A little bit. Because on the one hand, you have to be enthusiastic and business savvy enough to do a lot more than just, this is how Malays are like. Malays are we're very content with a lot of things. Even if someone speaks to us in our own mother tongue and they're not speaking it properly, we would go down and stoop down to their level so that they don't feel left out. We are really good hosts for people. When people come to our house and then you say, have you eaten? Dah makan ke? And then they say no. Usually, if you're in the States or you're in Europe, they say, okay, fine, you don't want to eat. You've eaten already. I'm not going to give you anything. In Malaysia, that's not the case. They go out of their way while they're talking in front, sitting on floor gang. The wives or whatever would go, and the daughters would go into the kitchen and then cook some nice little meal just for you. Although you said that you haven't eaten, that's the extent of the hospitality. It's gone past a little bit toxic. Sometimes they don't even understand that, it's more like a cultural thing. Like, the point is, Malays are very agreeable. We're very agreeable people. We're very accommodating. So when you have people who are business savvy and who like to take advantage of opportunities, you would have a lot of wealth. And that's what basically Mahathir's whole family lineage is. Mahathir was at the helm, overseeing the whole leadership of Malaysia, while at the same time approving a whole bunch of contracts. And all of these contracts are being fed. All this wealth is sort of empowering a little bit as a kickstart the wealth of his other candidates. Now, you can understand that by giving this legacy of Prime Minister to Mukhtar, that suddenly he will end up becoming all the power to approve a lot of contracts and continue the legacy and the wealth going down his line. That's it's a hypothesis from a scientist, okay? It's a hypothesis. And then right towards the end, you have honor. One might argue Michael Jordan, his honor should have stopped back in 1998 when he finished his second three-peat. But he went on further and come back to Washington Wizards and made a fool of himself, basically. It's not honorable for him to come back at that time already. He's already surpassed it. But it's understandable. People make mistakes. But he realized the mistakes after 2 years. The difference between him and Mahathir is that Mahathir, even after he realized after 22 months that it's not working out for him too well, he's trying to come back again for the third time. And not knowing when to stop, not knowing when to give up. In the end, this vote of no confidence was rejected from Shafi'i. But we all sort of know that Shafi'i is also an Anwarist and he doesn't really want Mahathir at the helm anymore, which is a good thing. So hats off to Shafi'i. Thank you for doing that, because we don't need another Mahathir controlling the country. But at the same time, we also we don't want Anwar to be on top. I don't understand it. I don't understand where all the young people are. Why is it a criteria that you have to be 70 years old and above to become prime minister? Imagine the prime ministers like Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping is 66 years of age and he has been in power for how long? Xi Jinping assumed power in 15 November 2012, is still the president, general secretary of the Communist Party of China until now. So that's like 8 years in the running. So that means he was in office when he was 58 years old, right? Where are all the people who are a bit younger than that? What about Putin? Let's see. Putin, acting presidency. Oh, he's actually even longer. He's actually acting presidency since 2000. So he's been in office for 20 goddamn years. And he is only, if I'm not mistaken, also 70 years old. He's 67. So that means he's 47 when he first became prime minister. Now you need younger people to take over Malaysia, because I don't really believe the idea that you need to have that extra 30 years of wisdom just to lead a country. And that's the problem I see again with the fact of Malaysia. Malaysians have this tendency to always look up to people as a leader. You know, whenever you talk to Malaysians, all the discussions are about, oh, Muhyiddin did this, oh, Anwar did that, oh, this leader did this, oh, this leader did that. Like, you don't really need a leader, to be honest. You need to just think for yourself and make the decisions based on your own study, because you cannot even discuss further. Let's say, for example, what do you think? Should the NEP be abolished? Was that a good idea? What's the criteria behind these discriminations and disparities? Like, has that actually done quite a lot of good? What's the statistics behind those type of things? When you suddenly put the leaders who came up with these ideas out of the conversation, suddenly the Malay or Malaysians cannot even speak about those things at great depth, because we are more like, we're always looking for heroes, aren't we? We're looking for leaders. We're looking for, oh, Anwar ni bagus lah, oh, Prime Minister ni bagus lah, oh, Najib ni teruk lah. You know, it's always looking up to someone. You know, we still have monarchs, for God's sakes. I mean, it's not a bad idea, you know, but one can discuss the idea of monarchs when you think about when the monarchy was taken off from the Bolsheviks. For example, like, what would happen then? Would it be a good thing for the people? Would it not be a good thing for the people? We cannot think for ourselves. That's why we depend on other people to become good leaders. And yet, the good leaders in Malaysia, somehow, it might just be that we needed them to be 70 years old. But regardless of which, this letter of vote of no confidence has been rejected, and rightfully so. You know what? The parliament's just going to be going on for one day, and you have so many other things to think about other than, you know what, you guys are illegitimate. Like, stop creating more problems for a country. Here's a problem with having people above 70 years old. You only appoint people who's above 70 years old to become prime minister in Malaysia, then the fresh players with fresh new ideas have degraded their lives, degraded their ideas, and succumbed to the game of corruption, of money politics, about all these types of things, to a degree where, you know, once they reach 70, they're all the same. They're all old dogs playing old tricks. So we need to look fresh and cut it at the source before the new players are tainted by the old game of corruption. What do you think? Who do you think should be the next prime minister besides these old dinosaurs, you know, who bring up this old game? Everyone's a kleptocrat. Everyone's playing this old stupid game, and no one's really happy. So leave your suggestions down in the comment below, and if you haven't done it yet, smash subscribe button and the bell thing so that, you know, you get notifications when I do all these videos. Anyway, that's all from me. Peace.
Apabila larut malam